And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Every day we interview local area business owners, local area expert contributors on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and it's all about helping you understand your buying decisions, avoid commission-based advice, and just be a more informed consumer here in Tampa Bay. So we'd love to connect with you. Multiple ways you can do that. Reach out to the hotline at 813-750-0550. We love it when the hotline rings, 813-750-0550. Call or text. Also, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region that we've assembled, we've vetted, and we bring on the show to help you understand your buying decisions and helping you win in any marketplace, as we say here on the show. We got a great lineup for you today as well. Coming in, we've got Wayne Harper. He's a attorney as well, intellectual property attorney, as well as a business consultant. Coming up as well, Kevin Overstreet, insured title, author of Fraud Shine State, property Prequal and property Firewall as well. And then in studio, we've got attorney Anthony Rickman, criminal defense attorney here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Before we jump into this great content, I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings that we've got here, compliments of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got a penthouse on the Gulf available, 1200 Gulf Boulevard, number 1805. This is a great opportunity, $2.67 million listing on Clearwater Beach. This is on Sand Key, number 1805 at the Meridian. Beautiful property, penthouse, resort-style amenities, 2 Gulfside balconies. You got intercoastal waterway views as well with a terrace, and just a gorgeous property. Great opportunity to live that VIP lifestyle right here in Tampa Bay. 1200 Gulf Boulevard, number 1805 in Clearwater. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
And a quick shout out to Replenish IV Solutions. If you want to feel energized, hydrated, and replenished, we got a safe and effective way to restore your body's crucial systems with vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes performing at optimal conditions, multiple Bay Area locations, or they will come to you. Replenish IV Solutions, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we got attorney Anthony Rickman in the house. Welcome in.
Brandon, thank you for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. So criminal defense, well, it's an interesting topic.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment. I mean, and there's a lot on the line. I mean, there's literally life on the line.
Without a doubt. Every time that phone rings for me and I pick up that phone, I never know what's on the other end.
Yeah.
It could be someone in a current situation where the police are knocking on the door, serving a search warrant.
Yeah.
I've had cases that phones rang and I've had somebody who told me, hey, I just killed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I step into my office, I consider it a sports guy. I consider it my field of play.
Yeah.
I played sports growing up. I carry a Rawlings briefcase, like a baseball glove, because when I walk into my office, I walk in a courtroom. That's my playing field.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot like a sport.
Yeah.
You have adversaries. You have a prosecutor who you're going against. You respect that prosecutor.
Yeah.
You know that prosecutor. You're strategizing against that prosecutor the same way you would strategize against an opponent on a football field or a baseball field. So to me, it's my sport. It's my passion, and it's what I do in the criminal defense world. And it takes a special kind of person to handle the things that we do in our world in criminal defense, because, like you said, a lot of stakes. When someone calls me to handle that case, that's the most important thing to that person.
Right.
And knowing that every time someone hires me or brings me onto their case, I know that I have to give them my best and do the best for them because the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
I have clients looking at everything from DUIs to life in prison on homicide cases. So the stakes are high, and it's an intense business to be in.
Yeah, Anthony, that sounds intriguing, man. Just to know that you prepared yourself, or you went through law school, you've got your degrees. Now you're in the real world, and it's the real life playing field, as you said, to be able to defend people, help people in these situations. Let's talk about some of your cases that you said you represented in the past, because I think it kind of helps bring it into light for people. One of the big ones was the Bayshore Racing case with the 17-year-old.
Yeah, and look, that was I've been doing this for a very long time. I started my career in 2005 as a prosecutor here in Tampa. And that basis of being a prosecutor helped prepare me for the future and always being a defense attorney. In all my years of practice, this case was extremely difficult because, as I described, there's just no winners in a case like this. You have multiple thousands, hundreds of lives ruined, lives affected,
right,
and many lives ruined over the situation. I mean, this is a case that was, sent ripples through our community and made national news. And I came onto that case the day it happened.
Wow.
I was with the family of my client the day it occurred. I was in downtown Tampa, and they called me. I went right there to the scene, met with my client when he was incarcerated. And, you build a bond with your clients. And as a criminal defense attorney, you have, it's tough sometimes to dissociate yourself, take a step back.
Right.
But when you have a case like that where you have a mother and a child that shouldn't have been killed, say what it is, and then you have a 17-year-old kid who's my client, whose life is forever going to be affected. A case like that it's very tolling on you. And I worked on that case, and we handled that case for close to 2 years.
Wow.
And during the litigation process, thousands of hours of depositions, motion practice, litigation behind the scenes, my client was able to come to a plea agreement in that case. And doing what I do, people knew that I had that case. And wherever I go, oh, tell me about that case. Oh, you have that Bayshore case.
Right.
I'd be at school functions. Parents come up to me and saying, hey, you got that, tell me, what's going on in your case? And, handling a case like that really, ages you, it changes your life, and it affects you personally. And it was a tough one. And ultimately, my client entered a plea agreement that he felt was in his best interest. And we saw what happened with the other co-defendant when he pled open to the court. He was sentenced to 24 years, as opposed to my client, through plea negotiations, through a lot of the work that we did leading up to the result of the resolution of that case. He was able to get a 6-year sentence as opposed to much worse. He's looking at 31 years. At 17 years old.
Over one decision. One decision to push the gas a little too much, the throttle in the vehicle, and just changed his life.
With that, I have small kids. And they hear what I do. They see what I do, and I hope that they understand the consequences. And I think that in a case like this, people have to understand that every action has a consequence. And my job was to defend him. We defended him fully, and ultimately resulted in a good result for him, considering what he was facing and what he was looking at, and considering just how horrible and tragic the circumstance was.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking with Anthony Rickman here, the Rickman Law Firm, therickmanlawfirm.com, in studio. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And yeah, it's such a, the criminal defense career just is intriguing, and you look at, some of the national stories, things in the news. And then let's talk about, the different shooting cases that you worked with, because shootings, accidental shootings, it seems like our Second Amendment is under attack constantly. And, you have these one-off situations where somebody goes crazy and they pull out a gun, and then they want to come and take everybody's gun. And I'm a big Second Amendment guy, and to be able to defend ourselves from tyrannical government, which seems like it's happening more and more, as we go on down this line of this new administration. But talk a little bit about some of the things to think about when it comes to these shooting accidents.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, I myself am a Second Amendment guy, so. As a criminal defense attorney, you always assume that you're put in this box where you're ideologically this way or that way. And so you got to put that aside and represent your clients based on the interests. And for me, in shooting cases, I represent clients currently that are accused as a defendant of homicide, of manslaughter cases, who are alleged to have not handled their firearm properly. And at the other end, I represent a family whose child was killed as a result of someone's reckless handling of a firearm.
Right.
And when you talk about the Second Amendment, we talk about the right to possess and bear arms. I think everybody has the right to possess that firearm, the right to do it. But there's also a responsibility that comes with it.
Exactly.
And that responsibility is keeping your firearm safe.
Right.
When you handle that firearm, you handle it safely, and you store that firearm safely.
Absolutely.
One of the cases I'm handling right now is a tragic case in Fishhawk, where my client was killed by a kid in his class with a gun. He's sitting, minding his own business, playing video games. And these kids find one of the kids in the house, his dad's a cop. They find his gun that's just sitting behind a door.
Wow.
Come out playing with the gun. They put it behind my client's head, and they say, let's go scare Bradley. And he pulls the trigger, and that life is lost. And now this 17-year-old, at the time he was 15-year-old kid, the shooter, is charged with manslaughter as an adult.
As an adult. Wow.
And I'm representing my client, his family, and having going to the funeral and seeing what that family is going through and seeing the suffering they're going through.
Yeah.
It's tragic. And the moral story for that case is, handle your firearms properly.
Right.
Possess them. It's fine, but
Yeah.
just do it the
That's right.
appropriate way. And the alternative, we talk about the Second Amendment. One of the biggest things is your right to protect yourself.
Yes.
Your right to stand your ground.
That's right.
Your right to arm yourself if you feel that you're in imminent fear.
Yeah.
And the right to use that firearm if that fear is reasonable and rational. And I had a case where my client, we went to trial on it. We
Yeah.
filed a stand your ground motion. The
Yeah.
time we filed that motion, the law was different. We had the burden of proof as opposed to now when a state has the burden. But under Florida law, if you feel that you're an imminent threat of serious bodily injury or death, or you're going to be the victim of a forcible felony, you have the right to meet force, including deadly force.
Right.
And if someone comes at you and puts you in that fear, you can shoot them.
Right.
And that's what stand your ground law says. So, I had a case. It was my two people were breaking into my client's house.
Yep.
He saw them running down the street. He armed himself with an AR-15.
Yeah.
And my client, was a decorated soldier. He was in the United States Army.
Wow.
He had just recently got back from Iraq. He had firearms. He legally possessed
That's the
them.
wrong house to break into.
Wrong house to break into, without a doubt. But it's even worse when my client drives down the road and just simply asks him a question. Hey, what'd you steal from me?
Yeah.
If you took anything, return it.
Yeah.
The state's victim, the alleged victim in this case,
Yeah.
approaches my client, gets right up to the car, grabs the muzzle of the AR-15, starts pulling it in his own mouth, saying, "Shoot me, I'm not afraid to die." Or you.
Wow.
He reaches down. My client, being a Marine trained, he thinks he's going for a knife, and my client pulls the trigger.
Wow.
And we went to a jury trial on that case, 6-day trial.
Wow.
After a 6-day trial, jury came back not guilty in less than an hour.
Wow.
And they support, and in that situation, it shows that, look, you have the right to protect yourself.
Exactly.
You have the right to bear arms.
Yeah.
I have a case now that we just ultimately resulted in my client not being charged. It was an unfortunate circumstance where his father attacked him in his own home. His father went for a firearm, and his father went to shoot my client, who's his son.
Wow.
And my client had to make a split-second decision, and that resulted in him shooting his father. And ultimately, through our investigation, through our legal work, and before the state made that filing decision, we were able to show the state attorney's office that my client was justified
Right.
in shooting first and defending himself based on all of the circumstances surrounding that shooting.
Right.
So
let me ask you a question, Anthony. We're talking with Anthony Rickman here, the Rickman Law Firm on the Consumer Quarterback Show, the rickmanlawfirm.com. Have you followed the McCluskey story out of St. Louis, Missouri? It was the couple that was defending. I think he was an attorney also. He's just literally walked out in his front yard, brandished the weapon, and said, "No, BLM activists, Antifa activists, do not come into my yard. This is my house. Do not come into my yard." I heard on a podcast, Charlie Kirk podcast recently, that they're charged just for standing outside their home with a weapon like that.
it's a shame. I mean, it's a political prosecution.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it really is. And at what level is someone allowed to arm themselves? And these people are just standing in their own driveway.
Exactly.
They legally had the right to possess the firearms. I know there's that meme out there with the wife with the gun and the husband with his rifle. They're doing what our Constitution says that we could do.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at John Adams, for instance, John Adams, people don't realize that he represented the British soldiers
Yes.
who shot our American troops,
That's right.
our American revolutionaries in the Civil War.
They fired
The
first,
Civil
right?
Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
And the question is, at what point in time can someone defend themselves?
Right.
And that the right to bear arms, the right to defend yourself, is rooted in American history.
Exactly.
And it's one of the strongest rights that we have. And in my practice, I deal with a lot of cases involving firearms.
Yeah.
One of the main areas of my practice are aggravated assaults, aggravated batteries, homicides,
Yep.
in which people have armed themselves and were justified
Yeah.
in using that deadly force. And ultimately, most people who have guns, people who carry guns, people who own firearms the right way,
Yeah.
are not looking for trouble.
Right.
They're not out looking to find somebody to hurt or to kill.
Exactly.
They're possessing those firearms to defend themselves, defend their homes. And you look at that case of St. Louis. At what point were they going to be justified then? Did
Yeah.
they have to wait for these guys to break down their door, come into their
Exactly.
house, burn their house like they were doing around the country at that
Yeah.
point in time?
Yeah.
No, you should be. And Florida stand your ground law is a little different. Is that because back, I know there was a case in Jacksonville a few years back
Yeah.
where a woman who was abused by her husband, and she took out the firearm and fired a warning shot.
Right.
When that case was presented to the court, stand your ground didn't apply to the threatened use of force. It only applied to the actual use of force. So if she killed him, she could have claimed stand your ground.
Right.
But in that case, since she shot at him and missed, and stand your ground didn't apply to the threatened use of force,
Wow.
she was found guilty and sentenced to prison, I believe, for 25 years.
Wow.
Ultimately, the Florida courts reversed that, and the legislature rewrote stand your ground law, at least here in Florida.
Yeah.
That you can use the threatened use of deadly force if you have reason to believe. And I think if that case in Missouri was here in Florida, I don't think they would be prosecuted. Number one, I think the politics is a little different here.
Yep.
And number two, the law is much different as to the protections you have here in the state of Florida.
Yeah, because the mob can't rule, and that's what they're allowing to do. And I also mentioned how they said, hey, we're coming back next Friday, and we're going to burn your house. I'm going to sleep in your bed. I'm going to eat on your kitchen. Like they were saying all these, very abrasive things to these guys. And so he ended up, being in contact with the president at the time and saying, yeah, we're going to have some SEALs come over and help you because they, police locally were told to stand down. Anyways, a lot more to talk about. We got to kind of wrap it here. Let me give you just a minute for your final thoughts, contact information, best way to reach out to you.
Yeah, look, obviously when you're accused of a crime, it's a very serious offense, and it's important to obviously hire an attorney or find legal counsel that represents you to the fullest. It's important to interview those lawyers, understand what that lawyer does, know that lawyer's qualifications. My law firm, we provide top-notch service to our clients. When you come in, we start our case right away. We don't let the state attorney's office, dictate to us when we should start our case or law enforcement. We have a team of attorneys, team of investigators who begin to represent our clients from the beginning, and we do it through trial. We do it effectively, and most importantly, we communicate with our clients. We keep them up to speed, and most of my clients have my cell phone. My wife thinks I'm a doctor sometimes because I get calls all throughout the night. But that's how you have to operate in our business. That you have to be accessible, you have to be understanding, you have to be willing to work, and you're an advocate for that person. And It's important to find the right advocate for you if you're accused of a crime.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Great stories.
Okay. Do it all day. Thank you.
Coming up, we got to take a quick break here. Coming up, we got Kevin Overstreet in the house, insured title and author of Fraud Shine State. We're going to talk about title insurance, property firewall, property prequal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, later in the show, we have our feel-good story of the day. Couple hides $1,000 inside baby formula and diapers at Target. Feel-good story of the day coming up right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We appreciate you spending some time with us, supporting the show. Thanks to our family out there, everybody representing the Salem family, and we'd love to have you reach out to the show, reach out to the hotline, or hit up consumerqb.com. We can put you in touch with any of our expert contributors that you hear on the Consumer Quarterback Show. A couple of hot property listings, 607 South Willow. This is a South Tampa property, Plant High School District, income-producing cash cow real estate property duplex right here in South Tampa. 607 South Willow is minutes from downtown. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in beautiful South Tampa. Also, we've got a South Tampa lot for sale, 202 South West Shore Boulevard. Great location. It's currently zoned for a single-family home, but potentially could change the zoning and get it to a commercial zoning. 202 South West Shore Boulevard, just south of Kennedy on the east side of West Shore Boulevard there in South Tampa. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, a quick shout out to Chad Irrigation. If you're looking to add a sprinkler system to your home, any properties that you own, Chad Irrigation can help you. Victor and his team do such a great job over there. Reach out to Victor and his team at Chad Irrigation. They helped us access the lake water behind our home and pull that in, and now we got a great water system lined up. And it's not pulling on the city water, which costs more money, of course. So reach out to Chad Irrigation. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you, and take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we got our friend Kevin Overstreet back in studio. Welcome in, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. It's always nice to be here.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You are a wealth of knowledge around all things real estate, title, real estate, and you've written a couple books, and got some really cool businesses that you've spun off of that property pre-qual, property Firewall.
Yeah.
And you also, I think you're working with Matt Cox now too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the ideal bad guy spokesman.
Yeah.
And he's also one of the only former prisoners that I've met who still thinks what he did is cool.
Yeah.
He's not ashamed of it, so he's open and real about it. A lot of it seems that most folks they come out, and a lot of times I'm sure it's true, but it's probably not true a lot of times, where they're reformed and they're sorry, and they're acting that way to help with restitution or something. And Matt, how he starts every conversation. I'm Matt Cox, and I'm a con man.
Yeah.
He doesn't say I was. He says I am.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, he's actually a very good guy, and he's certainly not committing fraud and things like that now. But he's the perfect validation for the fact that this happens.
Yes.
And what we're talking about is the theft of title to a property.
Yes.
Where someone then either creates equity by faking a payoff of a mortgage and then steals that equity, or sometimes sells the property. And no one really hears about it. No one. I shouldn't say no one, but we've done a lot of advertising, kind of A/B testing on social media and things like that. And the people that reply, the homeowners, most of them say that we're fraud. We're a bunch of fraudsters, or they say BS. That's not a thing. What are you talking about? Here's another scam. That kind of stuff. So, but Matt, between I think 2004 and 2007. He personally stole, not in his name in most cases. Most cases it was in the name of a person that didn't exist until he made them exist. He stole 109 properties just in Ybor City.
Yeah. And
was allegedly somewhat single-handedly responsible for taking the average value. Of course, values were skyrocketing at those times anyway, but I don't think they skyrocketed in a 4-year period from $80,000 to $300,000 very often.
Right.
That's what happened in Ybor, because he would buy a cheap house, record it as if it was expensive, and then take out maybe a dozen loans against the same property.
Wow.
He said at one point he had 1.8 loaned against an $80,000 property that was in the name of his daughter, who doesn't exist.
Wow.
And it's remarkable.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is when the heat would come, he would go to another place. So he was on the run doing this. He had, facial reconstructive surgery and things like that, and number one on the Secret Service list.
Wow. Let's finish up that story on the other side of this break. But that's interesting stuff. Talking about Matt Cox, who was on American Greed, and now he's helping Kevin with his company, Property Firewall, as a spokesperson. And he's wow, FBI Most Wanted, Secret Service Most Wanted. We're going to take a quick break. More with Kevin Overstreet here on the flip side of this break, and we'll be right back with more from Kevin and our feel-good story of the day. A couple hides, $1,000 inside baby formula and diapers at Target. Feel-good story of the day coming up. We'll be right back.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Johnny, let me know when you're ready to proceed. All right, stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, growing our team, looking for agents that may want to join the team. We'd love to talk to you. My wife, Lindsay, and I own and operate a top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. Out of 225,000 realtors in Tampa Bay, we're in the top 200. So we'd love to talk to you. I got a hot listing on MLK in Tampa as well, 1602 East MLK. This is Gill's Body Shop in Tampa. Gill's Body Shop, been in business for 45 years, cash cow, income producing property, and a great location as well, close to I-275, close to I-4, easy access to Central Tampa location as well, reputable auto body business. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. And a quick shout out to Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. If you're looking for a local or even a long distance cross country move, reach out to Brothers Easy Moving and let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. They do a great job. I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first class organization. Brothers Easy Moving, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, Kevin Overstreet in the house, owner of Insured Title. Property Firewall is what we were talking about before the break, and you were kind of wrapping a story there, Kevin.
Yeah, and about to correlate to another one. It's crazy what goes on. So Matt Cox, a good guy that did a bunch of bad things. We'll call him that. And so he got caught. He was, as I mentioned, #1 on the Secret Service list. He was top 10 of the FBI and of the U.S. Marshals at the same time, and had a bunch of really close calls, and then got rolled on,
got caught,
got ratted on right before he was taken off to do his thing in an undisclosed location. But so that's what, 15 years ago. Fast forward that to today. We talked a few times about the guy that my very smart closer at my title company in Madera Beach caught in December of 2018. And I spent a bunch of time thinking that, of course, we did our job. We told the police, and then we got a report with the FBI's property crime division. And months and months and months went by, and I just heard nothing. And I was like, these people just don't do anything about this. Why,
Right.
So I was prepared to be like mad at law enforcement or something. And then we find out that they'd been working it the whole time. So there's a detective in Pinellas County who had been working the case. He's closed the case. He told us that this guy's territory is bigger than we thought. So that means there's more outside of Pinellas. He's turned it over to the state prosecutor, who hasn't done anything yet. It's been months. And the truly amazing thing is that guy. So Matt was a brilliant criminal. Still got caught. This guy, he's doing his thing again in Polk County.
Oh, wow, the Pinellas guy that did it?
Yeah, don't go to Polk County. Go to freaking Tennessee, get the heck out of here. But and he's a licensed real estate broker. He's a competitor of yours. He has he has listings. I'm not going to say his name anymore because the case is still going on. But I will at some point be able to bring in hopefully the detective that handled the case so he can get into it. But really, this guy it is remarkably easy if you have a pretty cursory knowledge of how public records work.
Right.
You can do it. If you have a real knowledge of it, like someone like me does, not that I would do this, but it is so simple.
Yeah.
And there's not a person that owns a property that can't be a victim.
Since it is so simple, by the way, we're talking with Kevin Overstreet here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. So is this something that we should try to talk to our friends who are legislators in the state of Florida?
Absolutely.
And try to have them?
Yeah, I've actually, it's funny you say that because I'm making inroads right now with some politicians and through some attorney friends of mine, because this is something that can be stopped. Not just so there are companies that do this type of monitoring. It's called title monitoring, and ours was the same way in the beginning. It's of course reactive,
right?
Because you can't notice something until it's there, and that's the document that begins the process of the harmful acts. And what I've created, my team and I, we've created an actual deterrent that Matt has even said that if he saw that, and if you know public records well enough to steal title, you're going to see what I'm talking about. He would just simply find another property. So
exactly
what I'm hoping to do is speak with the right people and get that deterrent to become something that is legitimized, like by the state or something like that. And then quite a long shot, but as you know, the reason, the catalyst that makes this a problem is your title insurance policy that you get when you purchase a property expires the moment it's written. Mm-hmm. So the coverage period, when you think of coverage period of insurance, you always think of I have a necklace, so I'm having it insured for the future in case someone steals it. Title insurance insures your ownership of that lot, that property, at the moment the deed is recorded, which is also the moment your name becomes public record, and it's the moment that the policy coverage period ends. So that could be changed with the way technology is today. And I'm a title insurance agent. I've made a great living off of selling those policies. So they're very, very necessary, and they save a lot of people a lot of heartache because people do come from the past and make claims often. But when someone goes in and manipulates the public records, you won't know unless you're checking. The book that I wrote, which is still not out because of the story, it has a do-it-yourself way to check your title, and it costs nothing. And I absolutely recommend everybody go through those steps. It'll teach you two things. One, that it's kind of cumbersome to do, but more importantly, that it's really easy to do. And public records means public. So everyone can see those records. Your signatures are there. They fake documents putting title from you to them.
Yep.
If you have a mortgage, they fake a satisfaction of mortgage. They give it a little bit of time, and then they do their dirty deed to strip the equity. And usually the most common way the victim finds out. So let's say I steal title to your house. You're still making your payments. Your lender doesn't know their mortgage has been satisfied of record. And then I go and take out you're probably in a $4 million house. So I take out a $2 million loan, and then I take the money. It's a line of credit. I cash it out. And the very first time you hear anything about it is when the process server shows up to serve me foreclosure papers for your property.
Yeah. And you're like, whoa, how do I unravel this? And it's a long...
It ruins your day, probably.
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
it becomes a quiet title suit. You also, but if you think about it, that equity that they stole is probably covered by a title policy from a title company to that lender. But lots of people like to push blame elsewhere, and you personally don't have any way to make a claim. And you'll try. You'll say, I want to make a title claim, and the title underwriter will say that's outside the coverage period.
Right.
So I don't want to get into my big dream plan just yet because it might not work. But if it does, that could be changed where title insurance, like all others, becomes a forward-facing product. And it would be magnificent for the state from a revenue standpoint for many reasons. But there are also, if I had to guess blindly, 30-40% of the residential properties in the state simply don't have title insurance at all.
Wow.
Or it's been made invalid by who knows what. But yeah, it's a growing crime. It's one that can be prevented, and it's not that expensive to do it. There are a couple companies that do it. There's a big one. There are some small ones. I've identified one that is just stealing your money. He's fraudulently protecting you against fraud.
Wow.
And I'll be happy to talk about him once some things go down. But
well, Property Firewall is your solution. We got to wrap it here in 30, 40 seconds. But if you can, what is your parting words of wisdom and the best way that they can access you and your company?
Words of wisdom. Bad guys are everywhere. And when I talk about Matt and think about Matt, he really is a brilliant guy. Yeah. And he still got caught. So the good ones are still out there, the best ones. And this is a very, very simple crime to commit. And most people have spent the last year plus at home. You've seen a big rise in online fraud and things like that because they can't go outside and steal something, so they do it from there. This will happen to people that you know eventually, and maybe it already has. It just gets swept under the cover. So think about your title. It is public. Everything about you is public. Yeah. I show people the paperwork that I could create to steal their title, and they get offended that I had that information. I'm like, so does everyone else.
Yeah, it's public.
Yeah, it can all be seen. It can all be faked. It can be recorded remotely. And monitor your title. My book, the website has it, and that's propertyfirewall.com, the do-it-yourself method. Do that. There are also some free services that some counties have that have serious limitations, but they're free. Yeah. Do that. And then look at these title monitoring companies, and I encourage you to look at Property Firewall, of course, and let us do it for you, because it's a constant monitoring. The do-it-yourself method, you'll do it once, you'll say, I'm going to do it every month, and then you'll stop doing it because it's a pain in the butt. Yeah. And nothing's ever new.
And it's a nominal fee, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
To have it monitored.
To have just the monitoring and reporting. And you receive a monthly email. It's not, you don't hear from us until something happens, because that type of system, oftentimes you don't hear it because the email didn't make it through. Right. So we're sending a monthly email saying all's clear, or if it's not, here's the deal. And then you tell us what to do from there. But yeah, it's $9.95 a month for that. Yep. And if you want the deterrent that I don't want to describe right now, but it's a stop. It's an ADT sign in your front lawn.
Exactly.
If you want that, then you pay annually. It's a little less money per month. It's $150. That's not less. It's a little bit more. But you get that document that does stop the bad guy. So.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Kevin Overstreet. Check him out online, propertyfirewall.com. He's a wealth of knowledge and also owns title companies as well. So if you're selling for sale by owner, Insured Title is who you want to talk to, Insured Title. All right, when we come back, we got attorney Wayne Harper in the house. He's also a business consultant. He's going to be on air, plus our feel-good story of the day. And we'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere, y'all.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253.
Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we love to tell you something positive here on the program. Every day we like to tell you something good.
Tell me something good.
All right, so we got a couple that hides $1,000 inside baby formula and diapers at Target stores. A couple in Southern California placed cash in the baby products at Target stores in an effort to help new parents who might be struggling. So Crystal Dunahay and her husband Patrick know what it's like to be first-time parents. She says, quote, when we had our first child, we struggled to make ends meet, just like most new parents, end quote. And hoping to inspire others and spread kindness, Crystal posted a video of their new adventure to Instagram, and she says, quote, we really wanted to make things a little easier, hopefully brighten their day, and hopefully inspire others to kind of like you, and, spread the joy and kindness, end quote. And in total, she said she left about $1,000 in cash at various Target stores. And as parents trying to raise young children, it's really important for us to let others know kindness matters, and that whenever someone's going through that, and the post got 93,000 likes, that it's inspired many Instagram users to follow suit. And, quote, this is absolutely incredible. It gives me tears to think of the potential parent in need of this, opening it. You've inspired us to do the same. God bless you, one person commented. And really cool to see the random acts of kindness. And we love that on our show. And let's talk about a little bit of real estate here. We've got a top-ranked real estate team in Tampa Bay, and we've got some properties available here that I think you may want to take a look at right here in Tampa Bay. 6513 South County Line Road. This is 4.8 acres. Great opportunity to build out in East Hillsborough County. Great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. Check out this listing at 6513 South County Line Road. If you want to live that rural lifestyle, little agricultural style lifestyle, you've got a great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got our friend Wayne Harper in the house, intellectual property law, and also a business consultant. So welcome in, my friend. Welcome in, Wayne.
Hi, Brandon. It's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you, my friend. So what are you up to now? I know you're doing some business acceleration. You're a strategist in that space, and you are also, in the past, you were doing a little intellectual property law, and are you still dabbling in that as well?
Right now, I'm currently not in that business. I'm focusing on being a business acceleration strategist.
Nice. I like that. Now, what does that mean, business acceleration strategist?
The idea is to help businesses accelerate their profits, their revenues. It's really for businesses that want to grow.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So helping people grow their business, I think that's something that a lot of business owners are looking for, consultant and coach in those areas, because a lot of times people, they are great at the one thing that they do. They're artists in their craft, but they don't know how to grow the business or manage the business, and those can be restraining parts of the growth cycle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So when you look at that, you start thinking about, it all comes down to sales, right? Leads and generating business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So converting the leads, talk to me about what are some of the strategies that you've used in the past to kind of convert the leads and to get deals in the pipeline.
All right.
Yeah. So the strategy, so when you think about sales, in a lot of cases, it's in real estate specifically, it's all about growing the business, getting the sales in the door. Right. So for us, it's prospecting. When you're making sales calls, for real estate agents, it's for sell by owners, expired leads, making sales calls. Now, do a lot of business owners in your place, are they making sales calls, or are they using more internet leads? What have you seen in your experience?
In the current business that I'm in?
Yeah.
The idea is getting out and meeting people, and that's the whole idea.
Exactly.
It's, there's an old saying, they say content is king. Well, I think that is less and less true as time goes by, because there's too much content out there.
Oh, that's a good point. There is a lot of content out there.
So, content is not king. Connection is king.
Right. Making a connection with people, because no matter what business you're in the people business.
Right. Information is out there in large quantities.
Yes.
The idea is that people want to meet people, to connect with them, people they can trust.
Right.
That is the most important equation in this business that I'm in.
Yeah.
It certainly was in the legal business as well.
Right.
And I would think that would work the same way in the real estate business.
Right. Yeah. Do you see parallels between the intellectual property business? You were helping people out with patents and trademarks. Do you see parallels in that as well?
Well, in each case, it's in a lot of cases, and actually, when I start to think about startups and entrepreneurs, for instance,
yeah,
and both in the old business and in the new business, it's can be a difficult thing a lot of times to make a sale because in the case of intellectual property law, a lot of times small businesses don't think they need intellectual property, and startups especially. They're cash strapped. They don't want to spend the money.
That's right.
To secure their results.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in the case of small business consulting.
Yeah.
Is that these people don't know how to run a business, generally speaking.
Yep.
They know they can write a program. They can build a PC. They can build devices that no one else would ever think of. But
Yep.
don't have the vaguest idea of how to sell it or make a profit off it.
That's right. Yep. So they're an artist in their own business, but they're not working, to grow the business, and they don't know where to start. And especially now with the labor force, so you're talking to business owners. It seems like right now there's a labor crisis. So many people, contractors, different business owners that we talk to are having trouble hiring people because of the situation with the federal government now printing so much money, inflation on the rise, and it's hard to hire people because they're getting paid to stay at home. So the labor crisis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in any case, the idea is, for small businesses, is really it's talking about the first thing to do if they want to grow the business. Probably number one is to generate more leads.
Okay.
And the idea is they need to present a compelling message.
That's right.
And then the idea is so the conversion equation is you interrupt, you get a catchy headline.
Right.
And then you engage. So you add a little more detail to what you're talking about in your catchy headline. Then you educate. So, like in the case of somebody who's dealing in cosmetic procedures, for instance, there's a difference between being FDA certified and FDA, I think, approved or something like that. And a lot of times, people don't understand the potential customers of my clients. Don't always understand how much value my client's providing.
Yeah.
So they need to educate the consumer. And then also, the idea is to provide value.
Yes.
So that a lot of times you can have like a short ebook. So you interrupt, engage, and give them information.
I like it. So it's like you're kind of describing a funnel almost, like an online funnel where, because I remember one of the great marketers, I forgot his name right off the top of my head, a guy from California. He was known as a Sir Frank Kern. Frank Kern would say, yeah, let's move the free line. So let's give away that free report or that free article like you're talking about.
Right. And then a lot of times it isn't necessarily even appropriate to try to make a hard sale.
Right.
It's the idea more, you don't make a sale, but to borrow a phrase from a fellow I know, you enroll customers.
Subscription-based.
Yeah, you enroll the clients.
That's right.
And you're not selling them. You provide them value first. You give them something that they can use even if they don't ever do business with you.
Yeah.
And then, if they like you, they can appreciate your service. Of course, they have to see some value in the service.
Yep.
But they first and foremost have to connect with you and trust you.
And then you're going to put them into the database, and then you're going to have your drip campaign. You're going to keep in touch
Absolutely.
with them.
You can do drip campaign as one marketing tactic.
Yep.
And another concept that a lot of times some businesses sometimes fall short on is they may have a list of customers. And one of the most effective ways to get more sales is to sell more to the customers they have.
Right.
Rather than trying to get more customers.
Exactly. That's a big one. I was talking about that last week, and that's something that Gary Keller speaks about a lot in his Millionaire Real Estate Agent book with real estate agents, is you're always going after that new sale, that next sale. But, hey, call your clients that you did business with 5 years ago, 10 years ago. There's a lot of money to be found there as well. Relationships, growing those relationships as you started.
And as you say, a drip campaign can be very important. Once you get a prospect who's not necessarily a customer, it's been said that it takes 5 touch points.
Right. That's right.
To enroll somebody as a customer.
That's right.
And so...
Top of mind touch points.
So it's just a matter of, a lot of times it's consistency is the key. A lot of times.
That's right. Consistency. Hey, Wayne, thanks for coming in, man. That's good stuff. What's the best website or contact information?
I would like people to, first and foremost, send me a text message at my cell phone, which is 813-230-2404.
All right.
That's 813-230-2404. And I'll also give an email address if I can.
We're out of time, my friend. I'm sorry about that. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.